kayak anchor pulls, a stick-it pull. If you fish in shallow water, you know you need one, but you don't want to lose it if it falls off your kayak or if you have to cut it loose to deal with a fish. I've got two options for you. Stay tuned. Stick-it pulls come in 3 basic flavors. You can buy a commercial one, but they're kind of pricey, or you can do it yourself. And the 2 do-it-yourself options that are most out there are to get a tree stake, like this one from Lowe's. I think it costs about 15 bucks. Or a full fiberglass pole like this one. I think I got this from A.M. Leonard when they were crazy enough to offer free shipping on a 6-foot pole. They don't do that anymore, so don't go there to buy it. But the fiberglass version is solid and heavy. The tree stake is hollow on the inside. So depending on which you decide to use, you need to assess the stress that you're going to put on it. But let's get to not losing it, because that's what this video is all about. Now, on the tree stake version, there's really no issue with this. Since it's hollow on the inside, it's going to float. And we'll take all these options to the pool here in a minute, and I'll show you that. So that's the one option. Again, that is not the most robust. The other option, the one I use, is the solid full fiberglass pole. And you can see I've put shrink wrap around here to keep from getting the fiberglass threads caught in my hand. And you've got 2 basic options to keep this from being lost. You can tie a line to it leading to a pool noodle, so if it falls off your boat, the noodle floats to the surface and you can get it. The other option is to grab a pool noodle and then slide it over the end of the stakeout pole, run it all the way up to the top, and then this will keep it floating. And we're going to show this in the pool in a minute. So now the next question you're going to have is, will a dollar store pool noodle work, or do I need to buy the more expensive kind that is thicker? Well, the problem with the thick one is that the hole in the middle is bigger than the 3/4 inch of your pole, whether you're using the Lowe's version or the fiberglass version. Now, I've got a fix for that. If you want the additional security this will provide, stick it on there and you can see that that's not going to grab by itself. Get a thick washer, put that on the end and run it up all the way to the end. And you can see that provides a barrier that's going to keep that from coming off. But to make it extra secure, you need to run a cable tie around the bottom and honk it down really hard to compress this to make sure that the washer here is going to grip on it, because this will eventually come off if it's put under stress. But you don't need it. Let's go out to the pool and I'll prove it. Here's the standard tree stake you get from Lowe's or Home Depot. Very lightweight, and you can see when it goes into the pool, it floats just fine. But here's the problem. It's essentially camouflaged. It's green. If this thing falls overboard, you're never going to find it. So even though you don't need it to float, you should put a pool noodle on it anyway, just so you can find it again when you paddle back to it. Now, let's look at the heavier full fiberglass stakeout pole. I've already done experiments and I know that the standard size pool noodle is going to fit this just fine. But just to give it a little extra security, I'm going to run the thick washer up here as well, just to give it a little more edge to connect to. Now, I've cut this pool noodle to be 12 inches because that's plenty, as you'll see, because all we really need to do is to have this floating up above the water where we can see it just fine. So there we go, stick it in the pool, and it's floating with about, 6 inches up above the bottom. If you wanted more buoyancy, you could put a longer noodle on there, but I think that would just get in the way of the stakeout pole. And as long as that is enough, to be able to get visibility, I think you're good to go. As I mentioned, the other option is to tie a float at the end of a rope, and the issue here is you need to make sure that you have enough noodle to where it doesn't get pulled down underneath the surface. Now, what I'm going to start using this season is this version because I want to start running the line through my anchor trolley to the stakeout pole. And there's some issues with that I'll discuss in an upcoming video. So, you have thoughts on how to find a stakeout pole after you cut it loose or it falls off the back of your boat? If so, throw it down below. Thanks.